Hello viewer, and good to have you here. I want to start by telling you a story about Sarah. Now Sarah is a second born of a family of two. Unlike her sibling who is not disabled, Sarah has a disability. Sarah has cerebral palsy. Just like any other child, Sarah wakes up very early in the morning looking forward to facing the day. Sarah is very eager to go to school. And Sarah, unlike other children, the story is slightly different. Sarah needs to be supported in every aspect of life. Sarah needs to be supported with bathing, with smearing, with dressing, with putting herself together to be ready for school. The story starts when Sarah reaches school. The disappointment is not only in class, but right at the gate when she reaches. The school that Sarah goes to has no provisions for her wheelchair. So the wheelchair has to be left at the gate, and Sarah has to be carried physically to class. As if that's not enough, when Sarah reaches class, she's demotivated by fellow students who look at her as very strange. Unlike other children who can see very well, Sarah needs visual aids to be able to see. Sarah needs hearing aids to be able to hear. Sarah needs to sit closer to the teacher in order to hear what the teacher is saying. Now, people start looking at Sarah. The fellow students start judging Sarah. They start looking at Sarah as a curse. She starts feeling bad. She starts feeling demotivated. However, Sarah is very determined. Remember, during class, Sarah is picked out to be taken for therapies, the various therapies that are supposed to be part of her life in order to improve the quality of Sarah's life. She's motivated by the fact that each time she goes for therapy, she registered milestones, and this gives her confidence. I want to ask you a question. What if Sarah is your child? Well, my name is Harriet Nampero, the founder and director of Abigail Foundation, a center for children with disabilities, and Abigail Inclusive Nursery and Primary School, a school that accommodates both the children with disabilities and those without. My passion and educational background has greatly shaped my approach, combining community development and health perspectives to address the complex needs of children with disabilities. My work is mainly driven by the belief that every child deserves a chance and that disability should never be a barrier to potential. Let us look at disability in depth. According to the UNICEF Disability Report, over 250 million children have disabilities globally. This is roughly 1 in every 10 children that are born. In Africa, according to the same report, majority of the global cases report 80%, especially in the developing regions. While in East and Southern Africa, over 29 million children are born with disabilities. Now, when you look at Uganda, over 4 to 7% of children are born with disabilities. When you look at Wakiso, where Abigail Foundation has its home, over 3.9% of children born have disabilities, while in Mukono, 4.1% of children are born with various disabilities. Okay. Now, what is the implication of the statistics that we've just seen? The disability among children is more common than we think. Roughly 1 in every 10 globally, while Africa also carries the biggest burden, yet the least services. When you look at Uganda, in the Ugandan perspective, many children with disabilities are still invisible, especially in data and society. While you also look at districts like Wakiso and Mukono, there are still significant inclusion gaps when it comes to children with disability. Let us now talk about perspectives on disability. When you look at our society in Africa, in Uganda, in communities where we live, there are so many myths about disability. One of them is that disability is a curse. The fact is, disability is not a curse. There is also a myth that children with disabilities can't learn. Children with disability can't grow. They can never reach their potential, their full potential. Truth is, children with disabilities can learn. They can reach their potential. They can reach their dreams. They can do a lot more things that any other child out there can do. There is also a perception that disability is about witchcraft. This is not true. Disability is basically a condition. It can be an impairment caused during birth or after birth, after childbirth, as we shall see going forward. So disability is basically a condition that especially does not worsen for most disabilities, but with management, the child's quality of life can improve, and these children can be supported to learn to live, to achieve their dreams, and they attain their fullest potential. Now, looking at all these beliefs, looking at all these myths, looking at how society looks at disability, very many children have been excluded. Very many children in Africa, in Uganda, have been locked in the houses. Very many children have been denied a chance to go to school. Now, this is what nursed the idea to birth, this is what gave birth to Abigail Foundation. Now, Abigail Foundation is a center of children with disabilities. It is located in Buloli Zone, in Chalwajala Ward, in Namugongo Division, that is Chira Municipality, in Uganda, in Wakiso District. However, we have an inclusive school in Mukono. It is located at Namakwa Village, Chabalogo Parish, Nachisunga Sub-County, in Mukono District, that is Mukono South. As a result of the perceptions that people have, Abigail Foundation came to try and educate the masses about what children with disabilities are, how these children can be supported to be able to reach their full potential. As such, we have services such as occupational therapy, physiotherapy, speech and language therapy. We have community education programs. We have caregiver trainings. We have family support programs where we engage with families of children with disabilities, train them on the various ways of handling the various disabilities that these children are facing, but as well offer inclusive education to the children. It has resulted into many families appreciating that with consistent support, with early intervention, with early identification and intervention, with consistent therapy, children with disabilities can achieve a lot more milestones. They can achieve their dreams, they can reach their full potential. So at Abigail Foundation, we work with parents, we work with all stakeholders to make sure that all these cases are identified and given full support. Now let us also dive into some of the cases that we support or that we handle at Abigail Foundation. The most common ones, actually, we have cerebral palsy, quite common, and according to statistics, we have more boys with cerebral palsy than the girls. We have autism, that is autism spectrum disorder. It is also quite common. Here we see children that are mainly physically not impaired, but they are mentally impaired or challenged. We have intellectual disability. We have conditions like muscular dystrophy. We have conditions like Down syndrome. We have conditions that we've seen like hydrocephalus. But we've also seen the common conditions such as the blind. Those are children with visual impairment. We've also had the deaf. Those are the children with hearing impairment. We've also had the lame. Some of the children may not necessarily have mental challenges. They may have physical disabilities, and we just see them lame. And if supported with all the appropriate aids, these children can fit in community. They can do a lot more than we think they can do.